pros and cons to Baylor joining the Pac-12. It's somewhat closer in geography, higher chance of winning conference every year in football, strong women's basketball conference, strong women's and men's tennis conference, barely better than the ACC in women's volleyball, a higher chance of winning in men's basketball. Oregon has an acro tumbling program unlike any of those ACC schools. Good women's soccer conference. UCLA is in the preseason top 10, while USC, Washington, and Stanford are just top 25. Good track and field as well as cross country as a conference. It is a winnable conference and a slightly better conference for baseball. Well, that's the pros. The cons, the money isn't as much as the ACC, I believe. It's close to unstable like the Big 12, though I expect the new commissioner for the Pac-12 to be better in terms of money and potentially changing the mind on the not having a religious, they don't want a religious school or not a Tier 1 research facility, which Baylor should get a Tier 1 research facility in the next few years, I believe, like 2024. Of course, there's no equestrian, but that same goes for ACC. It's not better than ACC and men's basketball as a conference overall, historically. It might be harder to win titles in women's basketball, conference titles, though I think Baylor's women's basketball is going to be fine. The time for the games, that's going to be a little more difficult because, you got Mountain Time and Pacific Time. The women's soccer is not as good as the ACC, though, because the ACC has 5 top 10 preseason teams right now: Duke, Virginia, Florida State, North Carolina, and Clemson. It might be harder to win in women's volleyball every year, the conference, though I think Baylor volleyball is going to be fine. The conference in football is slightly worse when compared to the ACC because not many teams in Pac-12 have made it to the college football playoff. But that could change with the 12-team playoff. I think that's everything. Yep. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on that. Second.